7:38 on this Tuesday morning. I am so excited to welcome to the show our own U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Amy. Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's so great to hear your voice. I have to start the show by saying I hear you had a special day yesterday, and I know I'm a little late, but happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm had a little birthday, but yeah, I'm kind of peeking over towards the edge of 60. Not there yet, but we're getting there. But had a nice dinner with my wife, Julie. But more importantly than that, celebrated a lot of great things back home in Anchorage in the Valley. This past weekend, I was home, celebrating Veterans Day, did a couple events out in the Mat-Su Valley. And speaking of birthdays, a lot of your listeners will know November 10th was the Marine Corps birthday. We celebrate that in the Marines in a big way. So there was a big Marine Corps ball, but it was great to be home. More vets per capita in each state in the country. An incredible part of our heritage as Alaskans is taking care of our veterans and our military. And I was really honored to be at all these different ceremonies. And one thing, Amy, that was so great, so many of these great turnouts, right, in the Valley for these ceremonies, but so many young kids kids going to Veterans Day ceremonies, learning about America's heroic military culture and our veterans. So it was great.
That just gives us hope for tomorrow, doesn't it?
It does. And I swear, tons of young kids at all these events, which was just so heartening.
That's fantastic. Well, Senator Sullivan, I've been watching you in the news, and I follow you on Facebook, and one of the things we've been talking about on our show, and I think you are so on point with this issue, we have watched in the U.S. Senate 300 and I think it was 76 military promotions that were being blocked. And I understand the debate and the problem that Senator Tuberville has with the DOD policy on abortions. But to hold our military members hostage, I think there's been a lot of concern that this might impact military readiness, and you really have been at the point to try to unblock some of these confirmations. Can you kind of explain to us what the situation is and what your position is?
Look, I'm really glad you asked the question, and let me begin by just saying what you said. I am very, very strongly pro-life. I have a strong record that shows that in the Senate, and I am adamantly opposed to what the Biden administration did with regard to this new policy as it relates to abortion in the Department of Defense, because I think it violates the law. It violates what's called the Hyde Amendment, which is not supposed to use taxpayer dollars to provide abortion. So 100% opposed to that, as is Senator Tuberville. But what's happened is that, a lot of times you can put holds on nominees to make a point or get a policy change. I use holds all the time, right, against senior civilian officials or occasionally a senior one or two, four-star general, right, to get a point across, to get a policy change. The big reason we have the 425 still in Alaska is because I had a hold on the Secretary of Defense and the Chief of Staff of the Army to get them to change that policy. So, but what Senator Tuberville did, which is unprecedented, literally unprecedented, he put a hold on every promotion to 1, 2, 3, and 4-star general, and now it's up to about 450 generals and admirals. And Amy, as you mentioned, this is punishing our uniformed military members, right? And they have nothing to do with this dispute. Nothing. They can't fix it if they got confirmed. So they're kind of being taken hostage, and this is ruining the careers of hundreds of our best warriors. The most combat experienced generation of military officials since World War II, and they're all stuck, and their families are paying a huge price. So what I've been trying to do, and look, I'm working very closely with Senator Tuberville. I've been working with him for 9 months on this, is say, look, let's attack this policy in another direction. First, let's file a big lawsuit to challenge it. If we think it's illegal, let's challenge it legally, okay? So that's something that I'm working on. Might have that resolved as early as today to get that moving forward. And then let's take let's put holds on people, but let's put holds on the civilian leaders in the Pentagon that they've put forward who are in charge of the policy. So right now, I will have a hold on the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy in the Biden administration. That's the number 3 guy. Go after him. Take him out. Make him change the policy. But why are we, penalizing the, 1-star general who won the Silver Star in Afghanistan and Iraq and has a Purple Heart? I mean, we are punishing the heroes of America. And look, I get along very well with Senator Tuberville, but occasionally his rhetoric is, well, those 1- and 2-star generals, they're not the warriors. Are you kidding me? The 1- and 2-star generals today were the captains and lieutenants kicking in doors in Fallujah, shooting terrorists in the face 20 years ago. These are the most experienced, combat-oriented military people we have. And, Republicans, we're pro-life, but we also have a strong tradition of taking care of our military and military families. And right now, it is in the hundreds who are being penalized, and they have nothing to do with the dispute. So I'm pretty wound up about this because I'm all about, as most Alaskans are, protecting our military and their families and making sure we're ready. We have a very dangerous world out there, and we are keeping our most experienced people off the field of battle, and it's just doesn't make sense to me.
We appreciate the fact that you're passionate about it because, a lot of Alaskans, we see what's happening off the coast of Alaska. We see Russia testing intercontinental missiles. We see them running sorties off the coast of Alaska. We see what's happening in Israel. We see what's happening in Ukraine. And we do live in a very dangerous world. And the fact that we have a U.S. Senator who is a Marine, who understands the field of battle and understands looking at these issues globally, I think actually it's exciting to us to see somebody with a backbone and that's passionate. So I want to say thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, and it is a dangerous world. And look, this is the other thing I've said to Senator Tuberville. Let's resolve this, right? We should not be punishing our apolitical military families. They have nothing to do with this, and the worries. And then when we resolve it, let's go after the Biden administration, like I've been doing for the last 3 years, because in terms of the military, they're civilian leaders. Again, not their 1- and 2-star generals. Those are America's 1- and 2-star generals. The civilians of in the Pentagon under Biden are they're not focused on readiness and lethality. They're more focused on climate change and all these other things that have nothing to do with war fighting. Let's go after those guys, not our, the
soldiers.
Brigadier General in the Marine Corps who won a Silver Star in a 5-hour, combat fight that he got the Purple Heart in. Why are we holding up that guy? It makes no sense.
Makes a lot of, what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm just, it's heartfelt to know that we actually have people in the U.S. Senate that get it. So thank you for that fight. We only have a few minutes left, but as we kind of close out our discussion today, the other thing that are on people's mind obviously is, national security, whether we're talking about, the invasion at the southern border or we're talking about the conflicts that are going on with Russia and Israel. As we kind of talk about these issues, what is on the forefront of your mind, or how can we kind of reassure Alaskans that we're doing everything we can to keep our nation safe?
Well, in all these discussions, and I've had discussions with my colleagues, Republican senators, Democrat senators, Biden administration officials, we've been working on this supplemental to bolster our defenses. The Biden administration has come in every year. This president cuts the Department of Defense. The current Biden budget shrinks the Army, shrinks the Navy, shrinks the Marine Corps, right? That is not the message we need to send to our adversaries around the world. But here's in my view, the number one national security issue that I've told every one of these Biden officials. They have to fix the southern border. You cannot allow 8 million illegals to come through our open southern border. That is a big a national security threat, as China and Russia are. In September, Amy, get this, There was 17 members listed on the terrorist watch list who were caught coming into our country. 17 in 1 month in September. Think about the numbers that weren't caught. In September, there was 240,000 people that came here illegally in 1 month. That's the highest number in a month. It is a full open border, and it's not just the potential for terrorists. These guys are flooding our country, including Alaska, with fentanyl that is killing our citizens. So we got to shut the southern border. The Biden administration has to shut the southern border, reimpose the Trump administration policies, end this catch and release policy, put forward what was called the Remain in Mexico policy, and build the wall. I was down there. I asked, Border Patrol people. We were on the border at 1 a.m, watching this giant flow over the Rio Grande River. I mean, A, the Rio Grande River, I was shocked. It's like a stream. You can, walk across it. Right? It's not like the Yukon River or something. And B, I asked the Border Patrol, hey, did the wall work? They're like, of course it works. Of course it works. Barriers. So the border has to be dealt with, and this administration has completely had a dereliction of duty on, securing our southern border.
Well, Senator Sullivan, it is truly a pleasure to speak with you. I hope we get to do this again. It never feels like enough time, so I'm very grateful for your time this morning. I know you're back in D.C., so no rest for you. You're going to be right back at it. But
well,
we
Amy,
appreciate
great to be
everything
on the program, and I look forward to doing it again frequently. And keep up the great work.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.